If you're looking for a pro wrestling podcast with teeth, Buster Unmasked is the only podcast for you, where real pro wrestlers talk real pro wrestling and no bullshit allowed. All right, guys, we're here. We're live. It's a rainy, it's a cold, it's a dreary Monday, but we're here and you're watching Buster Unmasked. And today's going to be one of my favorite shows I've ever done. My guest today, anytime we get to interact with each other, it is an absolute pleasure. I have a blast. Look, this guy has had some of the best training in the world. He's super talented. He's a badass, and he really don't care. And without a doubt, I'm fixing to bring him on. He's Mr. Yeah Buddy, LG3. LG.
Well, thank you. I had to look around and see who's this guy talking about.
Oh, you know I'm talking about you, dude.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's always a great time when I get to hang out with Buster. Oh man,
Dude,
we go back some.
Yeah, man, we go back a little while. We go back what? Probably 2020, maybe late 2020.
I would say so. Yes, because that's actually around the time where I got my start in down there in New Bern, and that's where we crossed paths.
Right, New Bern, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Look, dude, let's just kick it off. Like I said, look, take us a little bit before New Bern. We're talking 3 years ago. It's kind of when you broke into business. Give or take a few months here and there. But take us on past that, man. Take us back to little LG3, and kind of tell us how you got. Tell us a little bit about yourself, dude, and what kind of got you into this crazy ass business, man.
Well, no, I guess I have the typical dream like any other little kid. You know, I was watching wrestling and thought it was pretty interesting, and I said I wanted to do that as a child, and I, you tune in every day and watch your heroes and see these guys running around sweating and beating up on each other, and like, yeah, that's something I want to do. But life happens, so it took a little longer to get there because when you grow up and get responsibilities, sometimes you gotta reprioritize some things. But it's always been burning in the back of my mind of being a pro wrestler, or I've wanted to play football. And it's funny how that happens because when I was playing football, I played a little semi-pro football, and one day I believe it was after practice, I was just talking about wrestling, and my coach, Keith Rundles, I had to shout him out because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even got to start, because he happened to overhear what we were talking about, and he just so happened that his family at the time was part of the EIW promotions, and that's where it all started. He invited me down. I linked up with Galen and Chris and all the rest of the guys out there, started training, and the rest is history.
Well, look, man, I knew you played some football. I didn't know you played semi-pro, man. Fill us in, dude. Tell us a little bit about that situation and tell us what it's like, man, to get to that level. I mean, that's pretty high level in football, dude. I mean, really, like I said, I knew you was a football guy and I knew you played, but I didn't know you had made it that far in the football industry, dude. Tell me a little bit about football, man.
This just like wrestling. We have our practices and we have our games on Saturdays. I play for a team, the Clarksville Chiefs. I've played too many different teams to try to pinpoint every one of them, but it was just I saw a posting, a listing. I went to a tryout and made the cut. Played a little defensive lineman, and I did that. I guess I want to say maybe 2 years before I actually started doing any wrestling, and then I went from joining the team, becoming a team captain, becoming. I actually wound up owning a team at one time, and but yeah, my heart was with wrestling.
Man, see, I learn something every time I do this show. I learn something new, man. Dude, that's
Mm.
I mean, that's and now you said you tried out. That means you a high school player, a college player, or did you just do a walk on?
Well, I played a little in high school, but as far as the semi-pro is, it's just pretty much you pay your tryout fee and then impress the coaches and they put you on the team.
Damn, man, you must have been pretty impressive. I'll be honest with you. That's a hefty feat, dude. I didn't realize that. Like I said, I knew you played some ball, but I didn't really realize you played at that level. Look, since you played ball at that level, tell me about how the transition from that world to the wrestling world kind of went for you. Tell me how that was.
It wasn't too bad of a transition. I mean, you got to train just as hard for both sports. So it was as far as physical conditioning is concerned, and weight training and diets. But I'm still slacking on that. Uh, but it wasn't really a difficult transition because come to find out, and I found out the hard way, there's actually a huge difference in what do we call being in ring shape versus just being in shape. Because even with all the training I've done for football, and you get out there and lock up with somebody, take a couple of bumps, and get gassed out pretty quick. It's
Right,
a whole it's a whole different animal. So
right.
it was a pretty easy transition as far as already being somewhat athletic, but as far as getting myself in ring shape, still working on that.
Hey, there's a big difference. Look, when I was training, I seen football players gonna come in. I seen a couple of basketball players, and to be honest with you, cardiovascular wise, the basketball players were always in better. They were closer to ring shape than anybody else, dude. When I was training, I had a pro rugby player. The guy's name was Colin Scott. He came in and did some training with us, and you could tell right off the bat. I mean, he's a big dude, probably six
Hmm.
seven, probably 290 pounds solid. And when he walked in, you could tell immediately that he had that. I'm gonna squash this shit. I'm gonna run over these guys. And it didn't
Right.
take. Hey, even in that kind of level, it didn't take him long to figure out ring shape is different than any other shape in the world, man.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It is, man. It's just a whole different monster when you're up, down, moving constantly, bumping, running, throwing bodies around. It
And
takes a lot of
still having to feed to the crowd.
still having to think, still having to remember to breathe. You sitting there, you catch yourself holding your breath when you first start. Hey, nerves, dude. When you first
Yes, sir.
start wrestling, nerves will blow you up quicker than anything else in the world, man. You
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
you get out there and you get nervous, and boom, man. Look, dude. I've done it myself. I've seen guys who are really in shape do it. The nerves hit you just right. You can be in the best shape in the world, man, and you'll be blowed up in 2 minutes, dude. You'll be looking for the
Absolutely.
door. Hey, look, man.
Absolutely.
We met about 3 years ago at EIW. So now,
Mhm.
like I said at the opening, you've had some of the best training in the world. But take us through your very first breaking into the business. Who's the guys that trained you? Who did you work with? Obviously, it was at EIW. Like I know Chris Hayes. You and Chris Hayes, big buddies. Galen. Uh, take me through
Absolutely.
take me through that process of breaking into the wrestling business. Was New Bern the first place you ever had a match at?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Man, well,
Like I
take
said,
me through that.
when Keith connected me with Galen, I would go to New Bern Saturday mornings and do what everybody says. Pay my dues. Help out, get ready, train, and I would actually be in New Bern all day. We would train in the morning and stick around, get the place ready, and Saturday evening we have a show. And I ain't gonna lie, the first month or two, I was more, I wasn't really ready to be out in front of a crowd. They was ready to put me in the ring, and I said, I'm not too ready yet. So
Right.
to kind of introduce myself, I would do some run-ins and come in, hit a spear, and get out, have the crowd, oh, who is this guy? And that repeated for a while until my actual first match uh, with Galen. I believe it was the week before or the week of Thanksgiving, and I'll never forget it. Uh, I was a soup sandwich, but Galen being a professional he was, Galen helped me. He got me through it. But man, I mean, first match, nerves are shot. Trying not to mess spots and trying to make sure I'm hearing the directions, what he's saying. And I was a soup sandwich. But Galen made me look good. But of course, Chris Hayes, Galen, Zach. I don't want to call everybody because I don't want to miss anybody because they know who they are, and and charge it to my brain, not my heart, if I did not call you out. But all those guys had a big hand in getting me started.
Right.
But going through there, I wanted to always be getting better and get better because I was like, once a week, it's not in my mind. I wasn't going to get to where I wanted to go or be a better asset for the company. So I started looking around and I stumbled across JPWA. And
Right.
so I whew, that was a story itself. I attended there in the summertime from what was it, August, July? I can't remember, August through September. It was a 3 month window in the heat of summer,
Right.
and that school we met 5 nights a week. And Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays were in ring work, and of course on Wednesdays was character development.
Right.
Well, for me, and this is oh my lord, this is the story of my life here. So I would go to work on Monday morning, get out of work, drive all the way 2.5 hours to Knoxville, get out of training, drive 2.5 hours back, and go straight to work. So for those 3 months, I lived out of my car and only went home on the weekends. I was constantly back and forth, back and forth.
I remember seeing your post and different stuff during that time, man. And I was thinking, I told my wife, I said, I don't know when he has time to sleep. I do,
Very
man.
little. I mean,
Plus,
just the things that you do for what you love. I mean, this is it's not a hobby for me, Buster. Like some guys may just make this a hobby because it's a pastime for them, but this is, like I said earlier, this is something I've been wanting to do since I was a kid. So these are some of the things that you have to do to get to where you're trying to go.
right. Jake Hudson, new viewer. First time I've seen Jake. Jake says hello. Jake, we appreciate you watching, man.
Thank you, sir.
Jake said he liked and shared. I definitely appreciate that, dude, man. Get it out there so more people can see it. One thing I forgot to say at the opening of the show is I was so excited to get you on every Thursday night on the Genesis TV network. It's a streaming network. You can get it on Roku, Fire Stick. They have a website. Every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Central Time, you can catch Buster Unmasked. This show here will air probably 4 weeks from today on Genesis TV network. And Jake, go check it out there too, man. If you miss a show on YouTube, Facebook, X, check it out on the Genesis TV network, man. Roku and Fire Stick. Look,
That's
man,
awesome.
you talking about the Jacob Pritchard School, and like you said, it was 3 months, and that was almost like a boot camp for you, right?
Yeah, it was, and just being able to get dive into the minds of Dr. Tom Pritchard, and every now and then, we may get a surprise guest. I do remember a time where we had some big names come through and just share their info, share their knowledge, and one thing that's I'm learning that's common with guys on every level. Um, the biggest thing is the psychology of matches and the believability and what's the word that we use? Suspend the disbelief, and it's something that everybody preaches on in this business, and you wonder why. You gotta get the fans on the edge of their seats. You got to be able to, and it's not always done with the big moves, all these different spots, and it's just
Right.
make it make sense, And that's what I've been learning from there. And but
No, I was just gonna say, Jake Hudson said I had Dustin Starr on my show. Dustin's cool. I ain't never had him on. I'd like to get him sometime. Let me ask you something, dude. All right, you talk about character development. Now, from the very first times we worked together, because I used to do an audio podcast, and you've been on there a couple of times. Used to do some things after matches. We even scared the shit out of a referee one day over in New Bern. But I always told you from day one, the one thing I like most about working with you is because you always stayed in character. No matter what, man, you stayed in character, man. And that's hard guys don't really do that, man. And it helps. It goes a long way if you're always in character, you don't never have to get in character. You know what I mean?
exactly. And that's the key right there is because again, another thing that guys have always been saying is don't be a character. Be yourself and just crank it up. You're always on it. So what you see in the ring with me is what you're going to see if you're walking with me in Walmart. Sometimes I hate to say it, but there's sometimes I embarrass my wife to death because I'm walking through Walmart and we may walk through the toy section and I go pick up the old plastic championship title and I'm proudly walking around with that plastic title on my shoulder, just acting a fool. Because what you see in the ring is what you're going to see outside the ring with me. So I don't. I tried to do the character thing, and for some guys it may work. Some guys, you have the royalties. You got the goth, you got the dead mans, and all that. And some people can pull that stuff off.
And a million clowns. You got a million clowns in wrestling right
Absolutely.
now. My God. There's more clowns in wrestling that's in the circus, man. I'm going to be honest with you. In the rodeo, too, man.
Absolutely. But yeah, I just like to just be myself. And that's why also there's been so many, there's been a couple of changes with the name. So.
Well, let's talk about that. Look, I didn't know. I was fixing to bring that up anyway. And when I first met you, you were Onyx.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And here's the thing. I don't see LG3 as different than Onyx. I see it as the evolution of you. You're becoming, and more than likely, you're going to keep evolving. LG3, it might evolve into something else, but I don't really see it as I was this over here and now I'm this. I see you more as it's just the evolution. It's your evolution through the business and just like you said, figuring out who you are and really just realizing that, look, man, if you want to really get over in this business and you got the personality for it, you yourself, that's the character. That's the thing that's going to draw people in. Dusty Rhodes was Dusty Rhodes. That's what drawed him in, not what he could do in the ring. None of that stuff, just Dusty Rhodes being Dusty Rhodes. And that's what, like I said, I always loved working with you because it's so easy. Always in character, no matter what we were doing, even in the aftermath, catching you after matches and just pissed off. Never broke character. Even catching you coming in the arena, never broke character, man. That's what I like. It made it more fun for me because it allowed me to suspend my disbelief and play right in with you, play right along with you, And look, you spent some time, like I said, you spent 3 months at Jacob Pritchard, and there's no doubt Dr. Tom's hands down one of the very best trainers probably in the
Absolutely.
history of wrestling. And I like the fact that they don't just teach you guys, they don't just teach you the moves. They now see, when I was broke in, they taught us how to wrestle, and then they throwed you out there and you kind of had to learn everything else on the fly. I like the fact that y'all have character development classes, promo classes, just to help you. That's what wrestling is now. I mean, you got to be able to do that whole package. If you really want to try to be successful in this business, you have to be able to do every bit of it from top to bottom. And man, I wish I would have been able to get that kind of training when I broke in. They kind of just trained us the moves, and if they seen you was gonna make it and you was pretty good, they throwed you out there, and everything else you had to kind of learn on your own. You might get tips here or there. Somebody watch your match or something, a veteran, and then when you come back, say, "Hey, man, try it this way," or kill that all together. You know what I mean? Just lose that. You know? But you basically kind of had to learn on your own, and I mean, it's fun, but man, you make a lot of mistakes. You make a lot of mistakes, dude. You know,
Mistakes are sometimes good because now you know what not to do. But I mean that was like you were saying earlier. With it all goes together because uh, it's hard to put a match together or get a person or get a fan interested in a match. And this is just my opinions. Um, it's hard to get somebody interested in a match if they don't know why they're watching the match. So I think all that stuff goes hand in hand more than what you do inside the ring because the promos, the flyers, the commercials, all that stuff building up to this match. Otherwise, you're just two guys in the ring and like, why are these guys fighting each other?
that's right.
And
See,
I don't. There's no story behind what started this rivalry.
hey, dude, I'm the same way. I gotta have a story in my wrestling. Look, I don't care how far fetched you take it, as long as you can make it make sense to me. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If there's
Exactly.
something I can buy into, because I don't think a lot of guys really get that. A lot of wrestling nowadays seems to be, it's all about the moves. And one thing I always tried to do was, look, you might get, if you got a hot opening you want to do, and obviously you're finished, you know what you're going to do, and you're finished. But I always tried to have my wrestling match from up here, in a
Hmm.
sense that I don't go in there and want to call all the spots and book it and try to set the match up by moves. I set it up by psychology of the emotion, the story we're trying to
Yes.
tell, and the emotion we're trying to evoke out of our audience. Man, to me, that's the art of wrestling right there. You
Exactly.
know, you can teach most people, you can teach them how to do the moves, but you can never really teach them that art. It's something that you have or you don't. I believe anybody can go in there and do a lot of moves and have a aesthetically pretty match just on moves, but that don't mean nothing if the fans aren't invested in what you're doing.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
that's pro wrestling at its essence. You know,
And I like what you said there because I generally I generally don't like talking about my match before because I am notorious. I'll get out there and forget everything we talked about. I'd rather walk and talk. And when
right?
you walk and talk, you can feel the crowd out. You can, all right, they're with this. You stay up, keep getting your heat, keep getting your shine. The crowd is with you. Boom. Now you cut me off, and we brought the crowd way up here because they were hoping and got the expectation of, all right, here you are, and it seems like it's a legitimate combat, and
Right.
that's you. And I'm not. I'm sure everyone, any wrestling fan, they've heard that interview that old Cornette did when he was talking about that fight on the side of the street,
Right, right.
and
Uh,
and that's how you get the crowd invested into it. It's just you got to, especially if you're a face, you know, it's like our hero is down. We're with him. We want him to get up, and so people start to clap, and now you're coming back, and then boom, you just cut him down, and now the crowd is like. Oh man.
Right,
So
kick
yeah,
the
I got
hair out of them.
right. So I'd rather go ahead and you got to know how you want to open and how you want to close, but you know what's in between the bread that we gonna do that out there.
Yeah, see, I always looked at it as the story I'm trying to tell has a lot to do with dictating the things I do in the ring to tell that story. Like, that's the reason I don't like just blatantly calling spots and moves, because here's the thing about wrestling fans. You can get a pop off of damn near anything, but just because they popped for something you did does not mean when they're in their car at home, they gave a shit about you and that match.
Hmm.
You just popped
Hmm.
them. What you want is to send them home. You want to be up here with them when they leave. You want to be in their
Absolutely.
head. And unless you tap that emotional connection with them, you just can't do it.
Absolutely.
It's just simple as that, dude. You just can't do it. Well, look, now you trained at Jacob Pritchard, and
Hmm.
like I said, you wrestled a little while, and then you kind of found another place to go get some more training. If I'm thinking right, FXE, is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Tell me more about that,
FXT
man.
out here in Hendersonville. I mean, it just seems like everything was happening the time it needed to happen. After a little spell, I took a time out and I was like, maybe I'm not really proficient, or maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was getting. So I said, I want to do it again. I was this close to going back to JPWA to go through another refresher, but then I found just happened to find FXE, and they just opened up in Hendersonville, and that was another 5 nights a week. But this one, I think it lasted about a year. The training went on for a year, and again, same scenario. I go to class, go to work, go home, go to class. Fortunately, this place is a lot closer to my house.
Right.
So, but being there, I worked with AJ Gallant, Jerry Lynn, Jake Dumas, Tom Latimer,
Right,
man,
right.
and Jeremiah Plunkett. So I got to brush elbows with a lot of the greats, and again, just getting that refresher knowledge, getting the physicality out, and getting my butt kicked yet again. Uh, it was just an amazing time. So I took that knowledge plus what I learned with JPWA, plus what I'm hearing from guys in the locker room, because that's the one thing I do is when I'm in the locker room and the veterans come in and they have the knowledge they want to share with the young guys, I'm right there. I'm like a
Right.
sponge. He's not even talking to me, but I'm listening in like,
You're listening. That's right.
yeah, yeah, that makes, I mean,
Mouth closed, ears open, man.
absolutely, absolutely. And it's just taking all that in because you always can learn and you can always get better no matter what level you've reached in this business. It's always about learning and improvements.
Right. Look, I'm getting a message. You know Tim Davis. You remember Tim, right? EIW.
Oh yeah.
Uh, when I first started, when I first came to EIW, he was actually booking at that time. He's sending me messages on Facebook instead of on YouTube or on here for some reason. He says, look, he says, tell him I will come out of retirement to manage him and we will hand out toothbrushes. Tim likes heat, man. He likes cheap heat too. Look, then he says, we'll get the bat from the old lady and shove it up her, you know what.
Let's do it. Let's do
And
it.
he said, flip me off so I know you're listening. So let's flip him off right at the same time. Flip him off, Tim. There you go. Messages on StreamYard or YouTube or some shit, so I ain't got to try to look at my phone and the damn screen at the same time. Well,
And
look,
get right.
so let's kind of backtrack slightly because this is something I want to ask you. All right, you come from semi-pro football. Obviously, like I'm the same way, man. From as long as I can remember, all I really ever wanted to do or be was a pro wrestler. From the first day I seen it, I was hooked. Long as I can remember, pro wrestling. Some of my first memories is pro wrestling. But when you're watching pro wrestling on TV, and you're used to watching whether it's, and see, I thought you was from, when I first met you, remember, I thought you was originally from around here. So remember I told you, I said, you grow up on Lawler, and you said, no, you was a Chicago guy, right?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, okay, which threw me completely off because normally people around here, around these shows, are all from somewhere right around here in the South, Tennessee or whatever. And so, look, you decide, you make the decision. All right, I'm going to push football to the side, and I'm going to chase this dream of becoming a pro wrestler. All right. So, like I said, when you're watching pro wrestling on TV and WCW, WWF, any other real regional territory shows back in when they were still going, okay, you get one impression of what it's like to be a wrestler. So
right.
when you walk into that building in New Bern, Tennessee, in the hot summertime, and when I say hot, if it's 110 outside, it's 140 in that damn building. Tell me your first thought when you first seen that building and you walked in. What did you think?
Honestly, the outside, of course, I was like, huh, okay. Wrestling goes on in here, huh? But actual showtime coming through that curtain, it was it was a surreal moment for me because I'm actually living a dream, you know. So
right.
every time I step through a curtain, every little, doesn't matter where I'm at. It doesn't. It's just. I still got to pinch myself from time to time. Like I'm actually doing this, and um, you come out and it's hot and it's dark, and you hear boos, you hear cheers, your music's playing, lights are flashing, and you gotta. And I stop and I survey the crowd, and it takes everything in me to like hold back that emotion because I remember I face or heel right now, but coming out and literally want to drop to your knees to break down and cry. And I know it sounds crazy to some people, but it's still meaningful to me, no matter where I'm at, whatever curtains I'm coming through. I cherish those moments to this day still, because at any time, we know in this business, anytime that could be your last time. So
Right.
every time I come through, it's shocking and all. It can be two people out there. We still going to put on a pay-per-view class show.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing I can say. I didn't realize you had as little training as you had the first few times I seen you actually in the ring. Honestly, for no more training you had, I thought you did damn good, man. You and
Thank you.
D'Lo had a hell of a series of matches.
Oh man, I
Dude,
used to love working with D'Lo.
hey, for real. And look, I'm the same way. As a big guy, I always love working with the littler guys because, man, I instinctively feel that big guy, small man match. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you and
Yeah.
D'Lo had those kind of matches, man. And I'll be honest with you, they were some of the best matches. They had the dog food angle thing. Man, I think you ended up getting a little taste of that dog food too, didn't you?
I fed him a little bit of it, and on my way out, he gave me this big handful right in the face. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was real Alpo dog food. It was not a gimmick.
I would
That
have
was
hated to
real.
get it, dude.
Oh, it was terrible.
I'd have been gagging trying to put it in his face, man. The minute that Alpo smell hit me, man,
Oh,
they'd have to take me
it was
out of there,
horrible.
dude.
It was horrible. But
Lord,
it's just it was a fun time. Yeah, it was. D'Lo's got a sharp mind on him too.
right. D'Lo's a hell of a talent in that ring.
He is.
D'Lo can go, and when he's really on, I mean, he is exceptionally good when he's on. When everything's clicking, when his confidence is right, and he feels like he's doing so. Here's the thing about wrestlers, man. The worst thing you can do to any wrestler is have them on a show and make them feel like whatever they're doing could be there or not. All wrestlers want to feel like what you're doing is important. It may not be
Right.
the main event important, but it's important to the show, and it is.
Hmm.
It is. Every match to me, truthfully, the most important match of the show, in my opinion, is the first match. That match right there sets the tone. You're either going to go out there, and if it's a shit match, then everybody else is going to have to work 10 times as hard after that
Yes,
match
sir.
to get that crowd over. But if you go out there and you put them on a nice, it don't have to be long. You put them on 6-8 minutes, action-packed match. Everything's right. It's flowing. You get the crowd popping. Then it's so much easier for everybody else the rest of the night. To me,
Absolutely.
first match is just about as important as your main event. It really
I
is
agree.
just as important for setting the tone to your show. Because
I agree.
sometimes if you lose a crowd right off the bat, sometimes it's hard to get them back. Sometimes no matter, it's going to take 2 or 3 matches afterwards, even if all of those were real good, to get that crowd back to where
Mm.
you could have started with them at, So
Yep.
I'm a firm believer. I see a lot of promoters, they think the first match is a throwaway, so they'll put guys out there that are inexperienced, that are not ready to even be in the ring, and they don't realize that damages their whole show for the rest of the night.
Now you got to think. You got to think too. Your first match, yes, it sets the tone, and you've got fresh bodies. By your main event, depending on how long your show runs, by your main event, fans may be exhausted. They ready to go home. They're tired of hearing everybody jump on the mic. That necessarily everybody don't need to be on the mic, but
Right.
and then by main event, 2 3 hours later, you lost the crowd already. So yeah, when you the first match, you got fresh fans. You wanna get them. You want to get them right out the door.
No, ain't no doubt about that. So I was the same way, dude. You were talking about once you broke that curtain, that it all kind of faded away, man. It didn't matter it didn't matter if you was in an outhouse with one person watching. I mean, you forget about all that. You know what I mean? Every bit of that fades away. Them 50, 75, 100 people, they could be 1,000. When I first started, I would get, like, it took me a pretty good while to get where I could really hear the crowd. I
Mm-hmm.
was always pretty good at working the crowd, but like I wasn't hearing the boos and the cheers, because everything kind of, it's like a vacuum when you get out there, especially when you're young and you're just starting. Like you're talking about nervousness. You worry about dumb shit like tripping on the way to the ring and just falling. You know what I mean? You do, man. You worry
Yes.
about dumb shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look,
I actually
man.
had
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I actually had a Titus O'Neil moment one day at EIW. I was rushing out to the ring, and all those guys like to wet their hair, so that ramp was soaked, and I run out to the ring, and I eat it. I
Man,
don't think
hey,
anybody remembers it, but I do.
dude, you're lucky you didn't slide under that ring, because remember all the plunder and the shit up under that ring,
Oh,
man.
that was terrible.
Look, EIW, though, man, the one thing you can say about that place, they always had energy. The dressing
Oh, yeah.
room had energy. Out on the floor, the crowd had energy. The wrestlers had energy. And that goes a long way to a show. When fans walk in your building, there needs to be, ain't nothing worse than walking to a wrestling show and walking in a building and everybody's just dead. The fans, the wrestlers, you know right then, this is going to be a shit show. I don't care if you have 5-star matches, nobody's going to care. But when you walk in a building and the fans are milling around, talking to each other, the kids are running, playing, the boys are in the back, they're excited. If that energy's there, your show's automatically going to be better, man.
Oh yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Of course, the ring leader of those fans that would get them going. Is Big Mama. She,
right, man. Hey, she's still going to the shows, dude. She's still getting
man,
them going.
awesome. Because if she don't like you, that whole building ain't gonna like you. She gonna make sure.
Hey, man, she'll hate Chris Rocker 1 second and love him the next, man. I swear, man. 1 week, he can be a bad guy 1 week and she just hates him. They be fighting. They be almost to the fight, man. Security has to keep him apart. The next week, if he's a good guy or he changes or something, she'll hug him, man. She loves him, dude. Big Mama, hey.
But that makes it much more enjoyable when you got fans that buy into it like that get really into it. Not to the point of causing physical harm, but I mean, when they're in it, it just reciprocating energy.
Right. Everybody else feeds off of that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really, man, that's a big part of wrestling shows is energy, man.
Absolutely.
Ain't nothing I hate worse. And even if say you walk in the building and you come through the front door and the fans there is energy in the front, but then you break that curtain to the back and you get back there and it's like dead fucking silence, like crickets. Then hey, I ain't above going in and telling these motherfuckers, hey, get off y'all's ass. We're here to have fun. We're gonna have some killer matches, put on a killer show. You got to get them fired up somehow, because if your wrestlers are dull, your show's going to be dull. It's just,
yes.
I'm not talking about flashy. I'm just talking about how they feel themselves. If they're excited about going out that night and doing whatever they're doing, they're automatically going to put on a better performance. It's going to be a better show for your fans, period. And it's just, I mean, it's really that simple, dude.
Exactly.
Well, look, man, you've got to actually be a part of some pretty big shows. You know, I know a year and a half or so ago, you got to do some stuff behind the scenes at Ric Flair's last match, man.
That I did. Yes, that was an incredible time. That entire weekend leading up to his final match, of course, they had the expo going on, and I mean, it was marked out city.
Right.
I was assigned to assist Lex Luger. Man, that was a great experience. And the way they had it lined up, onto one side of him was Eric Bischoff. Then down the line, you had Ron Simmons and Teddy Long and Steiner Brothers, and oh my God, I'm sitting in there like, oh, I'm in this building with all these greats, and I got to behave myself because I'm here to work. But man, everywhere I look, the Hardy Boys, and here comes oh my God, it was amazing. It was just amazing.
Well, look, let me ask you something. Now, you were there live. Now, obviously, it was I'm pretty sure it was sold completely out, right?
Oh man, yes.
I watched it on TV. Now, I've heard from people who were actually there. They said if you were there live, there was a whole different atmosphere and show than maybe what come across on TV. How's your thoughts on that?
It was different than what it was on TV, of course, because with TV you got the commercial at the wrong time. You got the camera switching angles. As soon as you get interested in this side, they switch on you for protection or whatever. But watching it live and seeing everything unfold, and just seeing that this man, some people say that he wasn't really at his par because he's up there in age, and
right.
I was honest, I was just taken back to see that at his age he's still going the way he went, to still get color, to still take bumps, to still may not have been all the prettiest, but to me that's an inspiration because I did get started so late in my life, and to see that Ric Flair is still doing it in the wee hours of his life is like. But of course, all live events are definitely they're more exciting than they are on TV.
Tim Davis is still sending me Facebook messages, man. I don't know why his ass won't get on YouTube and send this shit in.
He rebel without a cause.
Yeah, everybody I talked to that actually went said the atmosphere was wild. Said it was hot. The whole night was hot, man.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. Did you ever think? I mean, think about that. Did you ever believe when you broke in this business 3 years ago that less than what, less than 2 years in, you'd even be backstage at the show Ric Flair was on, man?
Never, never. If you would have told me that I was gonna see some of my favorites wrestlers live and in person, I'd have called you a liar to your face.
Right,
But it's
right. That
just
had to be true.
some of the doors that just get opened up when you're in wrestling. You know, keeping your ear to the ground, making those networking connections, and it was. As a matter of fact, it was Tom. I believe it was one of my coaches, Tom Latimer. He's the one that put me in connection with the people responsible for staffing the crew, and it's just the way everything just pans out. And blessings, blessings, man. It was fun. It was great. Uh, I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
Well, see, I think that's another thing that a lot of young guys breaking into business are a miss on. Man, wrestling's all about connections.
Hmm.
Opportunities come from connections with different people in the business. You never know. You never know who you're going to run across, and you never know who that person was or is going to be one day. And
Exactly.
all the best opportunities in the pro wrestling business come from somebody having a connection with somebody that said, "Hey, you ought to look at this guy. You ought to give this guy an opportunity." You know.
Absolutely.
Well, look,
And
man.
that's the other thing.
Go ahead.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I was going to say that, and the other thing with that is also the timing of it all. Because just because you connect with them today doesn't guarantee something's going to happen tomorrow. You 6 months down the line, and you get a phone call. Hey, such and such gave me your name and number. I want to check you out, and you
Right.
forgot all about it.
Right. Right.
So
It's important to make relationships with these people you meet and you work with in the business, man. It's really the biggest. I mean, if you want to, if you want to have opportunities, connections are where they come from, man. Look, it's the wrestling business. There's a million guys out there that are built better, look better, work better, but that don't always get them the job. And just cause you have all that don't mean you're right for this job.
right, right,
This ain't something you can just be taught. You can be taught moves, but you really can't be taught this business. You have to get out there, and I believe it has to be in you at some point. I've never wanted to be nothing other than a wrestler ever,
hmm
and when I first started training, a lot of the things I didn't know exactly what they were, but I knew how to already somewhat do them because I'd always watched wrestling my whole life.
right.
Which helps push you along. But man, forming relationships with these people that you're in the business with, you work with, and look, think about the wrestling business, man. You don't got to like each other to work with each other and maybe make money, man.
hmm
It's just simple as that. We don't have to be best. We don't have to be leaving the show going and partying all night for us to make money together in the wrestling business.
Exactly.
Look, man, I see you've been working at TCW, Tennessee Championship Wrestling, man. Y'all been doing some Jackson shows. Last Saturday, y'all did Selma, right?
Yes, sir.
Talk to me a little bit about how you got involved with Tennessee Championship Wrestling and how you like it. I've got a graphic that I'll show here in a minute of y'all's card. I think it's this Saturday night in Jackson
Yes,
before
sir.
we're done. But tell me a little bit about TCW, how you got there, and how you like it there, man.
Well, TCW, you know, was originally, I don't want to get it wrong, so forgive me, Casey. It was originally USA
Yeah.
Wrestling with Burt Prentice,
Yes. Yes.
and I believe they had a relationship with JPWA because
Right.
they used to host our graduations. And matter of fact, that's how I come to find or meet TCW and KC and Big Bundy and all the staff is we graduated and we did after our graduation or before we held the Burt Prentice Memorial Battle Royale. So Dr. Tom and TCW have worked several times together, and KC and the crew, they were the ones that hosted our graduation show, and it's just been At the beginning, it was a little hit and miss with trying to balance between TCW and EIW at the time. And
Right.
when I finally got the opportunities to work with TCW, it's just been smooth sailing ever since. I mean, Jackson, we just recently started going back there, close to the end of last year, and we'll be
Right.
back there more frequently this year. Dixon, Tennessee, and also Selmer. So
Right. Right.
going around the world trying, trying to get our territories back. But it's been a tremendous experience. Lots of lots of learning. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, it was last year sometime. Oh yeah, there it is. We had a seminar with Santino, not
Well,
Santino. What's his name? Yeah, it was Santino. Yeah, I'm messing this up. But yeah, we was
I'm
so we
messing it
got a
up,
chance
dude.
to.
I'm sitting here.
Oh
Go
no, you
ahead,
fine.
man.
I'm
Go
trying
ahead,
to.
dude.
No, you good.
No,
I'm
go
trying to
ahead.
figure out what I'm saying.
I'm trying to get this damn
No,
card blown up big enough where we can see it. You go ahead, man. Tell me about TCW, dude.
but it's been fun. This past Saturday, I got a chance to work with, um, and he's gonna kill me. Oh man, I got a chance to work with DJ Brown for the first time. Young DJ Brown and the original Hot Stepper, I believe is what he calls himself. And excellent guy to work with.
Actually, his daddy's the
Yeah.
original hot stepper, Danny Be Good. DJ,
Oh, okay.
hey dude, DJ is a hell of a talent, man. Hell of a talent.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was great. It was fun working with him that last weekend, and hopefully we get to do it again sometime. But looking forward to seeing what we're going to be doing down there in Jackson because Mike Mayo stole that Gold Rush title from me, but man, I might get my chance to get back at him
And this
if you
this
watch
this
that.
this graphic is that's for this Saturday night in
Yes,
Jackson, Tennessee.
yes,
A
sir.
lot of killer talent on it, man. Sean Hoodrich, K Swiss, Mike Mayo, Danny B, Jason Genesis, and the Goddess. Obviously, LG3, Insane Dane, the Hillbilly, uh, Tavon Jordan, man. He is a young guy that I had some. He works at TriStar Wrestling, man. Uh,
Hmm.
he's a hell of a talent, dude. TCW has a hell of a roster there, man.
That they do. That they do. I actually got
I,
to
I
train with Tavon. We went to school together.
oh, did you?
Yes,
That's
sir. Yes,
pretty
sir.
cool.
And yeah, just to see from where he began, and I mean, it's almost like he's in a different state every weekend when I hear from him. That man is jumped on his rocket and just kept on going. I'm excited to see what's happening in his career.
Right, right. He's got a bright future. I had never met him personally, but like I said, I had the guys Bad Omen from TriStar on last week, and they actually did their first show this past Saturday night in Hohenwald, Tennessee. Drawed a pretty
Hmm.
good crowd, successful show. But yeah, Tavon, man, what I've seen from him and what I've seen about him, man, they got to watch out for that dude.
Yeah, keep your eyes on him. Keep your eyes on him.
Look, Tim Davis is finally back where I can read it right here. He says, Big Mama's missing her teeth because of me.
Oh man, he trying to get something going.
Hey, Big Mama hit his ass with a bat or a cane or a chair. I can tell you that.
Hmm.
Well, look, dude, man, this time has flew by, man. Like I said, it's always a pleasure working with you. Every time we work together, man, I have fun. It's enjoyable. And I'm glad to see that you're progressing in your career, man. I'm so glad to see it. You said it earlier. I thought we was going to lose you about a year ago or so. I thought we was going to lose you, man, and I'm so glad we didn't, dude. Uh,
If I could say something before we wrap it up,
oh yeah, you got time. Say what you need to.
well, I just wanted to say because during that time it was a little disheartening, and you hit hit a point of depression. But if there's any of these young guys out there that might be trying to work their way through this, you're gonna have those days. You're gonna have those moments. It's like no matter who you call, who you talk to, it's just not right now. Just not right now. Just don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. That's what I wound up doing, and that's why I retired early. And I wasn't ready because it was still
Right.
in me. The bug was still itching. I took a couple of months off and readjusted some things and but just hang in there, keep going. That's the whole premise behind the yeah, buddy. So you just got to keep going.
Well, look, let's
It,
talk
the,
about that.
all
When
right.
you finish what you got to say, let's talk about yeah, buddy. We got a little time.
Okay.
I was meaning to get to that. Well, man, this hour just flew by, man. Flew by so fast. But yeah, tell me about, because like I said, I don't really view yeah, buddy as something different than Onyx was. I look at it more of an evolution of Onyx in the business. So tell me about the idea of yeah, buddy, and tell us a little bit of the lore of it, so people can
Well,
know about it.
first, I want to make sure that people understand that LA Knight was in no way inspired from this. So LA Knight had no adding to this. I know a lot of people ask me that. It's I told you when I went through training, I would blow up really fast. I mean, 5 minutes into training, I'm in the corner gasping for air, and I remember watching videos of Ronnie Coleman when he works out, and what
Right.
does he do to psych himself up? He hollers, "Yeah, buddy," and he dominates the weight. So I just started doing that one day in class. It wasn't anything I was trying to get over or do anything of that nature. It's just somebody had mentioned to me, just give me a good ribbing. You're not finish this drill. Why you don't even try it? You're not gonna do it. And I just let it out. Just came out. Just, yeah, buddy. And that was
Right.
what started it. But what that means is, just it's just another way for me to say, don't give up, keep going, persevere. It all wrapped up in those two words for me is yeah, buddy. That's what all that means. But where it all came from is, like I said, one day in class, I just hollered it out and I did the drill. And yes, I was gassed. And yes, I was hands on my knees, bent over. I didn't make any deposits, but I was trying to get some oxygen.
Oh
But
yeah.
but and I knew it got over when I'm coming to class and one of the coaches turns around, sees me walk through the door, and just hollers out, "Yeah, buddy!" And I was
There you
like,
go, man.
"Okay, so okay, so we got something here." And it just been with me ever since.
Dude, I love it. I love the yeah, buddy, and I love the LG3 because now that's more personal to you. Here's the thing, Onyx, it was perfect for who you were at that time and breaking in the business. But
Right,
now you've kind of started branding yourself. You've kind of started letting who you really are, parts of who you really are, be included in and worked into your persona. I like it, dude. I really like it, man. I think it's cool. I love the LG3. I like the yeah, buddy, but I love the LG3. It's I love it, dude. It works for you. It's really part of you, and it makes sense.
yes, sir.
Well, look,
Thank you
man.
so much.
Do you got any social media you want to tell everybody how they can get a hold of you? If there's any promoters out here watching, maybe book you.
Right now, the only social media I carry is Facebook. You can find me on Facebook. It's Yeah Buddy LG3 or my fan page at Yeah Buddy 2.0, the actual number 2.0. That's right now because I just I'm too old, Buster. I can't manage 500 different. I know I should, but I can't manage so many different social media outlets. Facebook is I live on it basically. You'll see me randomly posting things from time to time. So if you send me a friend request, be ready because I post some wild stuff. But I try to keep my 2.0 page strictly for wrestling information. But yeah, just send me a message. We can do business. And Facebook is where you can find me.
Right. Man, look, dude, like I said, it's always my pleasure anytime we get to interact. I wish you the best of luck in your career, man. This Saturday night, go kill it. Jackson, Tennessee Championship Wrestling. Go check my man right here out, LG3. And I'm sure he's going to be yelling, yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. All the
Dude,
time.
you have a great night, my friend.
You do the same, and Buster. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dude.
All right.
All right, y'all. You seen it right there. Yeah, buddy. LG3 this Saturday night, Jackson, Tennessee. Tim Davis. You want to know what I really got to say? Motherfucker, if you're going to send me messages and you're going to interact with this show, you're going to have to do it right here like you're doing it now. Don't be sending me them bullshit-ass Facebook messages where I got to look on my damn phone, man. I ain't got time for all that shit. I'm old. You heard what, yeah, buddy, LG said a few minutes ago. He's old. This social media shit, man. We don't know how to do this bullshit. Get off your ass and interact with us like you're supposed to, Tim Davis. You know I love you. Look, guys, tomorrow night, 7 p.m., I got the Vanity Killer himself, Dorian Vane, on Buster Unmasked. And then Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m., it's time to revel in his greatness. It's going to be all about the House of Genesis. Jason Genesis will be live. Thank everybody for watching. I appreciate everybody. Don't forget, tune in tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Dorian Vane, the Vanity Killer.